happy Cinco de Mayo. And the city council members are 6 feet separated with dividers between us. So I'm going to remove my mask, and if you feel comfortable, feel free. All right, we are going to, I did call the meeting to order at 6:01, and I'll ask the attorney, do you have anything to report out of our closed session, sir?
Not tonight, Mayor.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much. I'm going to read the following. The City Council is inviting the public back to attend meetings in person with limited seating. The public is also invited to attend for in-person public comments as well. For information on how to reserve a seat for future meetings or how to sign up for in-person public comments, please visit the city's website. The website is cityofmenifee.us, and then there's a /agendas. For anyone who's watching this meeting at home, if you'd like to provide public comments, you can register by register to speak by emailing publiccomments@cityofmenifee.us prior to an item being heard. Be sure to identify which item you would like to speak on, and you'll receive instructions on how to participate in the meeting virtually. With all of that being said, I'm going to ask our clerk now to please call roll.
Councilmember Dynas? Here. Councilmember Carwin?
Here.
Councilmember Leesmeyer?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sobek?
Here.
And Mayor Zimmerman.
And I'm here. Thank you. We are now on item 3. This is Words of Inspiration, and I'm going to call upon Pastor Mike Johnson. He's from Impact Church. Hopefully he has joined us virtually. Pastor Johnson, are you with us, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. All right. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Pastor, we do hear you, so the floor is yours, and we appreciate you being here to give tonight's invocation.
Well, great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo to all of you. I'm sure this is not your first place that you would like to be on a night of celebration like Cinco de Mayo, but hopefully you got some Mexican food earlier today, or you have something planned later tonight. But I was thinking about the Cinco de Mayo celebration, and being from Southern California, for me, it's always been about just eating Mexican food and partying with friends. And but as I look at it, you know, there was a supposedly a battle, you know, in 1862 against the French in Puebla, Mexico. And even though it wasn't the only battle or the last battle, it was a decisive battle. And so the celebration of Cinco de Mayo really is looking at the odds that they were facing. A very small Mexican army was facing a larger French army. And the Mexican army had smaller losses, and the French army had a lot greater losses. So there was definitely a decisive victory. And so as I thought about, well, why did they win? You know, what was it that caused them to succeed in that battle and get that victory? And one of the things I think is just they had faith in their cause. They wanted it more. It makes me think about another story where the odds were great that they were facing. There's a story in the Bible where Gideon is facing great odds. And actually he was called upon to do so. It wasn't something that just happened. He actually did it on purpose. And it had to reduce his army down to about 300 guys against about 9,700. So that's a 400-to-1 ratio. And so you think about, well, why was he called upon to do that? So the bottom line really, I think, is trust. You know, he had to trust God and others he was with, and face the odds with faith. So leaders in Menifee, I think the charge to us as leaders is whatever your battles are on city council, may you have faith, trust, and courage to face those. We're still dealing with COVID. We're opening businesses a little at a time, slowly. Schools are opening. You know, I'm sure you're working with the school district on that. Managing the opinions and interests of diverse populations, that's probably the most difficult one there. Everybody has an opinion about what we should be doing and how fast. This requires us to face those odds with faith. So my prayer for you all as leaders in our city is that you have decisive victories as you make those decisions, and may you have even a Cinco de Mayo sort of victory tonight. and in the days and months to come. So thank you all for your service, and we as pastors in the community really appreciate the way that you serve each and every one of the citizens in this city. So thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Johnson. And here in the audience today, we have Pastor Crawford from Elevation Church, and I know he was jotting down some notes, so I think we're going to be learning about Gideon next Sunday. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us.
Great. Thank
All right.
you.
At this time, we are going to do our flag salute, and if we could have the chairman of, or chairperson of the Chamber of Commerce, Carrie Tate Meyer, lead us in the flag salute, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Tate Meyer. Thanks, everybody. All right, we are on item 5. This is presentations. We have 4 of them, so let's take our first presentation, item 5.1. This is the California Affordable Auto Insurance Program. Mr. City Manager, did you want to introduce the item and who our speaker is?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council members, and for the public, I believe we have Peter Mesa on the line. Peter, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Great. I think somebody's going to bring up the PowerPoint for me.
There it is.
Perfect. I appreciate it. A little bit smaller than I can see, but that's all right. Well, let me just get, okay. So basically, we're the Department of Insurance. So just a little bit about us. We're the Department of Insurance. Let me see if I can get that a little bit bigger here on my screen. I don't want to take up a lot of time. We're the California Department of Insurance, so a lot of people, will want to know who I am and what we're speaking and what we're saying. But this is what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. I'll hopefully be done in 5 minutes. I'm going to talk about the California law. I'm going to talk about the California Department of the California Low Cost Auto Program, how to qualify, how to apply, and how you can partner with us, and then maybe do a little Q&A. So if you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Go ahead and switch over. Appreciate it. There you go. Yeah, so the Department of Insurance, who are we? We're the largest protection agency in the state of California, consumer protection agency, and we regulate all lines of insurance, auto insurance, residential insurance, life insurance, some health, but we regulate home warranties. There's a lot of areas that we regulate. So we regulate the insurance companies. They're required to be licensed with us, and they have to follow all of the regulations. Also, there's over 450,000 insurance agents in the state of California. All the insurance agents also have to be licensed with us, and there's information here about who we are. But let me get into the California Low Cost Auto Program, because that's the meat of everything today on the Cinco de Mayo. Talking about Cinco de Mayo, if you can go to the next slide, and we can get to the tacos of this whole thing, the main encore. So California law requires all drivers to have proof of financial responsibility, and you have to have at minimum liability insurance. You can't drive without liability. There will be penalties if you're driving without insurance. It could turn out to be very expensive. Next slide. So the California Low Cost Auto Program was established back in 1999 by the state legislature. So it provides affordable, low-cost liability insurance. It is a state-sponsored program, and the goal is to, of course, decrease the number of uninsured motorists. We believe there's still 3 to 4 million people uninsured, and that it impacts everyone's premiums. Next slide. So how do you qualify? I'm glad you asked. You need a valid driver's license. You can have an AB60. The vehicle cannot be worth more than $25,000. You must meet certain income guidelines, so you have to be within that range, and you have to at least be 16 years of age, and you can't have a bad driving record for the last 3 years. So 1 ticket is okay, but 2 tickets with 2 points, or 1 accident with an injury involved, that's going to be 2 points, so you wouldn't qualify. Next slide. So here we show in the different color code scheme here, there's really 5 rates. The rates are set per county, and a lot of these counties are bundled together. So I believe Riverside is in the blue area there, and you can get insurance in Riverside County. It's going to be less than $270 a year, which is amazing. And of course, there are different categories. It'll go up according to your age. If you're between 16 and 19 years old, it's going to cost a little bit more. If you haven't been driving for more than 3 years, been less than 3 years, you're going to also be in a different category. So it goes on from there. So anyway, but that's essentially the way the structure of the premiums. It's set per county. It's not set per individual or where you live as far as zip code and all that. It's pretty much these regions, okay, these large county regions, which, you know, embark quite a bit of demographic area. Next slide. So the CLCA program, this policy offers minimum liability to drive legally. The basic policy is a $10,000 per person for injury or death, $20,000 for the entire accident for injury or death, and then $3,000 for property damage. Next slide. You need, of course, valid driver's license, a proof of registration, proof of income, valid registration, a down payment of at least 20% of annual premium, which is like $60, you know, with a type of or less. So next slide. So you only need, in order to show proof of income, you just need to show a W-2, 1099. You could be a part of one of the programs, state programs, like Medi-Cal, Cal Lifeline, and so forth. And there's a whole list there at mylowcostauto.com if you want to know specifically, you know, what you need in order to qualify to show that your income is at a certain level. Next slide. And you can apply at My Low Cost Auto, take the eligibility questionnaire. There's like 13 questions. And the application process is 100% online. So you can actually get in there, enter all your information, apply. And then if you have some problems, you can actually get into our chat room and they'll help you finish applying for this program. It's in English and in Spanish. Or you can actually call our 866-602-8861 number. Next slide. And this is the heart of one of the reasons why I came to the City Council, and I really thank you for listening to me, City of Menifee. We'd love to partner with you. So if there's any way that you can help us by putting the links, the logo links that will connect to mylowcostauto.com on your social media or your city website. We're having a lot of cities that are working with us. El Centro already agreed, and Bakersfield, and many other cities throughout the state of California are doing this. They're helping us get the word out to the residents of their different cities. So we'd love to partner with anyone that is under the sound of my voice right now that would love to have us come out and speak. We'll come out and talk to staff meetings or some other nonprofit organization that you may be involved with. You know, city, you know, meetings also, whatever you have. But we'd love to partner with you. We have also brochures. We have little leaflets and pamphlets that we can send out and mail to you for free, and hopefully you can pass those out once this whole pandemic thing opens up and we start having people in public. Hopefully they can come and pick it up there as they visit the city of Menifee. Last slide, I think, is Q&A. Let me see. Next slide. Yeah, that's you know, that's where you find the numbers for My Low Cost Auto. Of course, I'm with the Department of Insurance, and that's our number and the website for us. Any questions or concerns?
I don't hear any, Mr. Meza, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate learning all about the Affordable Auto Insurance Program through the state. So thanks for joining us virtually this evening. We appreciate all the information. I'm sure our staff's more than willing to work with you. So,
Thank you, Canada.
all right, thank you. All right, we're going to move to our next agenda item is 5.2. This is Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency. This happens to be their 25th anniversary. I know we have a nice proclamation here put together for them. And hopefully we have Ms. Fisher or Ms. Hester from Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency with us. Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate you being here. Congratulations. And I know our Mayor Pro Tem Lisa Sobek serves on the commission there, so she'll probably have a few words to say of congratulatory manner, and she has the proclamation as well. But we wanted to open it up to you first, just to say a few words and share with members of our audience your thoughts and what the agency is doing today.
Sure, thank you. Evening. My name is Rihanna Fisher. I'm the program manager for the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency. We're responsible for protecting and conserving habitat for the endangered Stevens kangaroo rat in western Riverside County. And this year, as Mayor Zimmerman mentioned, we're proud to be celebrating our 25th anniversary. We've done so many great things during this time, including a recent proposal from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to downlist the species from endangered to threatened, which represents success in increasing its population and protecting the species, which we will continue to do in perpetuity. What we're asking this proclamation to do is commemorate May as Conservation Appreciation Month, because our open spaces are so important, and we want to be able to continue to appreciate the importance of nature in our communities. We're happy to accept this proclamation, and we'd like to invite everyone to look at our website, which is rchca.us, and there will be activities going on throughout the month of May in support of Conservation Appreciation Month. So on behalf of RCHCA, thank you so much to the City of Menifee for this proclamation. And we are grateful to have Mayor Pro Tem Sobek on our board this year, and for participating in our 25th anniversary celebration. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. Before we hear from Mayor Pro Tem, I know Councilman Leesmeyer would like to say something.
Do you still partner with school districts to do the field trips to our reserves? Do you want to talk about that while you have the floor?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were a little bit set back this year because of COVID. So we did our educational events virtually. And we are, this Conservation Month, we are doing educational videos and wildlife virtually as well. So we hope to pick up the educational program with the schools starting next year. And what we do is we partner with the schools in our, we are a JPA, so in our jurisdictions, we partner with a couple schools, and we take hundreds of students out over the span of a week to our reserves, and we set up stations, learning stations, and we partner with oil lessons and energy lessons and wildlife lessons. It's a really great time for the students. And they learn a lot, and we even go back to them and have an art contest later in the year. So they draw what they learned while they're on our field trip. So it's a great program.
Sounds fun.
Thank you.
Makes us want to be kids again. All right, thank you, Ms. Fisher. So I'm going to turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem now to share the proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Rihanna, for being here tonight. Princess isn't with you tonight?
She is not, no.
Okay, I know that she recently was promoted in the WRCOG, and so we're looking forward to great things, hearing great things from her, and we're grateful that you can be here tonight. Just to give you a little bit of past information that you just heard from Councilmember Leesmeyer, who is a past chair of the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency. And I am the current chair for this year with 12 cities on the board. On our proclamation, I'd just like to share a little bit that the Stevens kangaroo rat was listed as an endangered species in October of 1988 by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And the City of Menifee joined the Joint Powers Agreement, creating the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency. In 1996, the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency was formed for the acquisition, administration, operation, and maintenance of the land and facilities for ecosystem conservation and habitat services for the Stevens kangaroo rat, which is a keynote species, by the way, in our county. The Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency is celebrating 25 years in 2021. The agency is proud of its achievements in species recovery, making Stevens kangaroo rat a candidate for downlisting. And that is a huge milestone, probably the first in the region. The City of Menifee supports and appreciates the Stevens kangaroo rat habitat conservation plan. And on this day of May 5th, 2021, the City of Menifee recognizes month of May as Conservation Appreciation Month. So congratulations on celebrating their 25 years. And just to inform our council, because we do have couple, I'm not sure if Councilmember Dean Dinas, excuse me, is aware of this, but we went to Washington, D.C., and we worked with Washington, D.C. to get this kangaroo downlisted because of the achievements the RCA has made in the county, has been able to do that. And so through science and technology, they are doing well in recovering the species, which is huge, and that's what the plan should be for, is to do that. So congratulations, and I did pass out to my colleagues, you should have a copy of the calendar events for Conservation Appreciation Month. And that's all I have.
All right, very good. I think we should give them all a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
All right, congratulations. Mayor Pro Tem will bring that proclamation to you at the next meeting for you to hang on the wall. All right.
Thank you.
With that, let's move to our next item. This is 5.3. We're actually going to come to the front for this one for our Outstanding Citizen of the Month. And if we could have a microphone from our IT folks for Mayor Pro Tem Sobek. This was her choice for Citizen of the Month, and she'll have a few words for her, the recipient. All right, our microphone, I believe, is on. No? Check, check, check. It's sort of on. Just crank it up. All right, so as you guys all know, each month the City of Menifee selects a Citizen of the Month. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to do it for a little while, but we're resuming it again now. And we rotate across the council members to select the person that they deem to be a valid and valuable citizen for our community. And today I'm in full agreement with Mayor Pro Tem's choice. But anyway, with that, this is this month's May selection for Citizen of the Month.
Thank you, Mayor. And I have standing here before me Casey Crawford, who is also Pastor Crawford, who we've gotten to know on the City Council. But I'd like to share a little bit about you because I took time to write this, and you took time to send some things in. So, and I don't want to forget anything. So Casey Crawford serves as a model for demonstrating outstanding action within the community. Pastor Casey Crawford opened Elevation Church in Menifee in 2011. He has led his congregation as a servant leader by his volunteerism work throughout the city. He has served as an assistant chair and most recently nominated as chair of the Menifee Interfaith and Community Service Council. Pastor Crawford has led his congregation in many service needs throughout Menifee. They have served and collected non-perishable food items for the Menifee Community Cupboard, have volunteered at the Alternatives to Domestic Violence shelter. In fact, on that one, he just saw a need that needed to be done, and he has set up several cleanup days and help there at the shelter. They have collected toys for the Rotary, the annual Santa's Workshop, participated in the annual Menifee Better Together Community Cleanup Day, and has led the annual Menifee Interfaith and Community Service Council National Day of Prayer event. Pastor Crawford provides words of inspiration at City Council meetings when asked. As mentioned above, Casey Crawford has contributed in many ways for the betterment of the City of Menifee and its residents. Besides running a community church, Pastor Crawford has volunteered where needed. When learning the needs at the ADV shelter, he has organized work parties many times to assist the shelter in yard work and many other needs, as well as raising financial donations to support the domestic violence shelter during Awareness Month. Most recently, he has been working with the Assistance League of the Valley to help build a much-needed play structure at the shelter. He supports the Breath of Heaven's Children's Village in Zambia, Africa. And Casey and his family moved here in the 1980s, and you grew up here. I remember you saying in what you wrote that you remember playing Little League where the Menifee Valley Middle School is now. He has also been recognized with the 2020 Coaches Award from the Menifee Community Service Department. And I just want to say thank you for all that you do in this community, for your leadership and for your selfless service to help make Menifee a better place to live for everybody that lives here, and you are very deserving of this. So today, the Menifee City Council congratulates you with the Outstanding Citizen of the Month.
Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, as a pastor, I'm scared of microphones, so. I thank you. I really just want to say thank you tonight, and we love Menifee. It's a pleasure to serve. It's a truly unique city. We are so happy that we feel called back to this area, back to this city. I did grow up here, and so as a kid, you make those funny proclamations in college. I'm never going back to where I grew up. I don't know why we say those things, but I'm so happy that we were led back here because this is a beautiful place. It's a growing city in many different ways, but a very special one with great leadership and great values. And so we're just more than thrilled to be a part of it and to play our small part in serving where we can and trying to help make the city a positive place. And so thank you for that opportunity. We're going to continue to serve.
Will you announce tomorrow's event?
Yes. Okay, a plug-in for one event. Menifee Interfaith and Community Service Council is hosting May 6th, Thursday, 11 a.m., National Day of Prayer. Task Force is putting on nationwide National Day of Prayer services, and so we're going to be hosting one tomorrow at Central Park, and so all are welcome, all are invited. We have a tremendous lineup of people from the interfaith community who are going to be presenting and saying prayers for our city. There'll be a band that has some live music, all very uplifting, positive, just wanting to thank the Lord for the city and just pray continued blessings upon this great place, that it continue to move in a great direction. So you're all invited to join us tomorrow at 11 a.m.
You get to hear Chief Walsh.
Yes, and Pete.
Yes, Chief
yes.
Walsh, it will be the keynote speaker for those who may be listening on social media. So, do you want to get a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give him a hand one more time. Great choice. Yes, we do. Okay, next up, I don't know if this thing's, I think it went off. Check, check, there we go. All right, so I'm going to call up Gina Gonzalez. She is our Economic Development Director, along with Kayla Charters, because we have another proclamation. And what I'm going to do is just hand it over to Gina, and I'll take this. Let's trade. And you can kind of introduce what it's all about.
Okay. Cool masks. Thank you again. Gina Gonzalez, Economic Development Department for the wonderful city of Menifee. Hello. Hello. Okay. Tonight we are recognizing our Menifee small business community as we celebrate in National Small Business Week. It's a nationwide initiative that has celebrated small businesses for over 50 years to shine a spotlight on the nation's 31.7 million small businesses. More than half of Americans either own or work for a small business, and they create nearly 2 out of every 3 new jobs in the U.S. every single year. This year, we are aiming to place a greater emphasis on our small businesses in Menifee and the achievements and challenges they have overcome in light of this dooming global pandemic. We would like to encourage our residents, our community, our neighboring region. Thank you, ma'am. To continue to support our small businesses here in Menifee this week and beyond, there's many ways that you can show support, from simply shopping local, dining local, utilizing services from small businesses, purchasing gift cards as gifts for your family. And then also, our favorite, leave a special review about how great our businesses are on social media and share the great experience that you've received in working or supporting a small business. And with that being said, we're proud to present the proclamation on behalf of the City Council, apologize, Mayor and Council, to the Menifee business community. And as the City of Menifee recognizes small businesses as the backbone of our local economy, we're in the pleasure of our wonderful Executive Director, Medisha Jones, with our Menifee Valley Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to invite her up, as well as a couple of her wonderful board members that she'll introduce, to say a few words. But before we jump into their few words, I'll pass it over to the mayor and the council.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say we all know that small businesses are the lifeblood of any community and any city. And so we just want to say, Gina, you're right. When you say let's all get out there and support our small businesses, it's the right thing to do, and it helps your community, it helps us all. So this is a great day. Manisha and Carrie and John, come on up. I'm going to pass the mic, let some of the council members say a couple words.
Well, I've had a small business in this community for 15 years, so I can tell you firsthand the support that the community gives that the city gives to our small businesses, and the chamber specifically. I've been a member of the chamber for over 10 years as well. So thank you for everything that you guys do, and this is a fantastic proclamation recognizing that.
You know, it goes without saying the importance of our small businesses here in Menifee. You know, nationally, the small businesses are our largest employers in the country, and that starts locally. So we want to take this opportunity. I know it's only one day, but we have to remember that every day, how important our small businesses are to our city. Congratulations and thank you.
I just want to say shop local. It makes a difference. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for recognizing and celebrating the small businesses in our community. At the heart of this proclamation are people. Just about half of the people in America, as you all stated, are employed by small businesses. So you helped retain 269 jobs in our community with the Menifee Cares Small Business Relief Grant. So thank you for helping our small businesses recover from some of the devastating effects of the pandemic. Just a little bit more. Small business owners not only create jobs, they keep our economy going, and they care about our neighborhoods because their families are here. Their kids go to our local schools, they pay mortgages and rents here. It's a tremendous honor and privilege to serve our small businesses. Through the chamber, I get to run a small business that serves businesses and citizens and facilitates connections in the community. So this may be City Hall, but we are all Menifee, and thank you for taking such great care of your city.
You said it all.
Right.
You said it
Thank
all.
you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Jones. So Gina, are we going to hang this in the Chamber of Commerce office? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this to you then, Manisha, and thank you for being here. We love the partnership between the city and our Chamber of Commerce. So thank you guys for being here this evening, and thank you to all of our small businesses and our residents who shop there. All right. All right, the fun part's over. We're on item 6 now. This is agenda approval or modifications. Madam Clerk, do we have any modifications to tonight's agenda?
No, there are no modifications.
Okay, council members, all in favor of agenda approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, our agenda is approved, and we'll now move to item 7. This is public comments on our non-agendized items. This is the time for members of the public to address the council about items that are not listed on the agenda. The Brown Act limits the council's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at such time the comments are made. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes on any single item. For information on how to participate in the meeting, please visit the city's webpage at www.citymenifee.us/agendas. The City Council is inviting the public back to attend meetings in person with limited seating. The public is also invited to attend for in-person public comments. For information on how to reserve a seat for future meetings or how to sign up for in-person public comments, please visit our website. For anyone who's watching this meeting at home, if you'd like to provide those comments, please register to speak by emailing public comments at cityofmenifee.us. And that'll be prior to the item being heard, and please identify the item that you want to speak on, and you'll receive instructions on how to participate in the meeting virtually. All right, Madam Clerk, please tell me that we have a public
All
comment.
that said, and we don't have any
Are you
public
kidding me?
comments.
Oh
Sorry.
my gosh, nothing email?
But they'll know for next time, nothing email.
Oh, so catch me before I start. All right. Well, you all know for next time. All right. Let's move to item 8. This is council member updates and comments. So I will start as I usually do on my right, which is Councilman Carwin, to provide an update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So it was pretty light last couple of weeks. I did attend the Chamber of Commerce meeting where we got to connect with the local business leaders. Always like to do that, both as a member of the chamber, small business owner in town, and on behalf of the city. So it's always great to hear all of the success stories from our small businesses in town and how they're banding together. Along with the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, we visited several locations. That didn't seem like I segged. It seemed like I was on the same subject. New topic. Menifee Better Together occurred, and I drove around with the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. We met up with Councilman Leesmeyer at a couple of locations there to thank the many volunteers. I know I expect that the Mayor Pro Tem will have more to say about this, but I wanted to mention it, and it was just a tremendous event getting to meet the volunteers out there helping to beautify the community and seeing just the incredible community spirit. In light of what we've had to deal with to get the event going, the success of it was phenomenal. So I was really impressed with that. And then yesterday was International Firefighters Day. And just with our firefighters here in Menifee and the remembrance of the fallen firefighters and the hard work that they do, I just thought it bore mentioning that. I just want to make a special comment to thank all of our hardworking firefighters and first responders out there. I know it's not First Responders Day, it's Firefighters Day, but I wanted to just acknowledge that and thank everybody for your efforts in that regard. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much for your report. Councilman Leesmeyer.
Sure. I'll piggyback on your announcement about the Menifee Better Together. What a great event. Great to finally get back out there and do some more volunteering. Great to see so many smiling faces and happy awardees, if you will. I want to thank all the volunteers and thank our partner, Waste Management, for their efforts and Community Services for pulling it together. I just have one update with respects to committees. I serve on WRCOG, and this last week we met and went over just the standard operating procedure items. We are still in the process of recruiting for a replacement for Rick Bishop, the director. I understand that that's down to a few people, and they're conducting interviews. And on the dais, I had left each of you a copy of the month-end summary for the totals for revenues in, revenues out for WRCOG, and of significance, the single-family residential totals for WRCOG are $23 million as of the end of March. $10 million of that came from Menifee.
Wow, that's almost
So
half.
we are generating a lot of revenue for the WRCOG program by virtue of all of our projects and development going on in the city. So big kudos to the city. That's it.
All right, thank you, Councilman. So you're saying that Menifee contributed almost half of the developer fees that are collected, and is that the TUMF program, or?
Yeah, the TUMF program, right? So for anybody who doesn't know, the TUMF program is, think of it like a big giant piggy bank, and it's broken up into different regions, and projects, when they develop, they contribute to the piggy bank, and the committee and the WRCOG staff prioritize projects within certain areas, and the funding goes towards those projects. So while we may have contributed, north of $10 million, we're not necessarily going to be receiving $10 million this year, but that's okay, because we've probably benefited from the WRCOG program on other projects where we hadn't contributed as much. So it's a give and take.
Councilman, thank you for representing us on that board, and hopefully those numbers give you a nexus for asking for more money for the city of Menifee. So
Yes.
it's definitely justified. All right, let's pass it on. Councilman Dynas.
Thank you. Since our last meeting on the 22nd, I attended the RTA Board of Directors meeting. On the 26th, I appreciate all the council members could be there. We had the Nova Park improvements ribbon cutting.
Yep.
Looked really nice. I think that the residents will enjoy that. Thanks to our community services folks for doing a great job. Matter of fact, just FYI, it was done internally by city staff, all the work, for significant savings. So kudos to them. And finally, on the 28th, I attended the Southwest Regional meeting for the RTA, and it was announced that Route 40 that goes from Canyon Lake to Menifee would be suspended because ridership there is down 80%. And that will be then reevaluated in the fall to see if things will pick up. Hopefully, things will open up and there'll be more riders, because right now they're so limited on how many people they can have on a bus anyways, that is making it difficult to keep the ridership up. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Councilman. All right, and Mayor Pro Tem Sobek.
Thank you, Mayor. As some of you mentioned, we had Menifee Better Together 2021 on April 24th. I believe it was our 9th year here in the city of Menifee. It was down substantially, but we were able to do something, and we were able to do 8 senior home revitalizations. And many of you, I think all of us were there. Oh, Dean, you were out of town. So I wanted to share with you that the homeowners and the volunteers were just so wonderful. The seniors are so grateful, so appreciative of the work that is being helped. One house that we stopped at, I was just overwhelmed. At this one house we stopped at, there were 4 volunteers and 1 habitat worker. And at that house, all 4 of the volunteers were senior ladies who were just in our community, who saw it advertised and they wanted to give back. So here it was these 4 senior ladies, and they're actually helping one of their neighbors, a senior person who needed help. And your heart just swells when you see those things. But again, we had Newport was divided into 5 segments. We had several people out cleaning Newport Road, and grateful for those volunteers. We actually had 2 free trash locations for the first time. The one at KBM Park that we always do. And by the way, they said there was at least 100 cars that came through that morning. And then over at Heritage High School, we're so grateful for the Paris Union School District, who partnered with us in Heritage High School, who had 5 dumpsters there, and they were all full by 11:30. So it was extremely great event, positive for our city. And again, I just want to thank the businesses and the volunteers. Do it without them and their support. So the partnership with community services in our city, Habitat for Humanity, and then the other big partnership is Menifee Interfaith Community Service Council, who provides a lot of the volunteers. And by the way, there was a Girl Scout troop for the last several years that's been making flower bowls, and it's usually on site, and the littlest children, who they get to be volunteers and they get to learn how to plant flowers. Well, it didn't happen this year here, but the Girl Scouts still made the flower bowls and donated them, that were going to go to senior citizens in our community. So great event. Put it on your calendar for next year, the 4th Saturday of April. It's truly a better Menifee Better Together Day in Menifee. I just want to say congratulations to the Employee of the Quarter, Blaze Mziv, and I'm not sure if I pronounced his name correctly. He is a senior fleet technician over in our Public Works Department. And what I understand, he's just a very humble, caring, hardworking employee. He's an expert. He runs a great shop and just loves being in Menifee. And right now, he's taking care of over 100 cars that our city has in its fleet system. So congratulations, Blaze. Again, we went to Nova Park. I just want to thank Bryce Howe for doing internal work with you and your team. A beautiful park there, another addition for our residents to have a place to go in the city of Menifee to play at a park. The mayor and I were able to take a tour, a sneak peek of the Menifee Library. There were no books on the shelf, and I believe as of today or Monday, the county was able to take it over. It might have been handed over, so they'll start filling up that library, hiring the people they need, and they're looking at a date in July to open that library. But it's absolutely just a beautiful, beautiful facility. I attended the Michelle's Place open house and them showing off their expansion. I just want to say they are located in a neighboring city, but they service many of our Menifee residents, not only for breast cancer, but for all cancers. So they are a great service and resource in our Southwest Riverside County. I attended the RCA board meeting, which I have sent to you, or was asked to send. You should receive an email of a slide presentation. They have heard loud and clear one of the things is to have better communication. And if you haven't seen it yet, you're going to start receiving a newsletter quarterly, if not monthly, in your email boxes. I made sure that all the council members were on that, so you're up to speed what's going on there. Menifee Interfaith yesterday I attended. Our guest speaker was our senator, Senator Ochoa Bowe, which did a great presentation telling us what's going on in Sacramento, talking about her bipartisan bills that she's passed. She's just really doing some great work up in Sacramento. And so I think we're, as it was said in the meeting by somebody, which was a Zoom meeting, is that with her in Sacramento and Senator Melendez, we've got a powerhouse up there. So this morning I attended the Eastern Municipal Board of Directors presentation for the outgoing General Manager, Paul Jones, and I was so impressed hearing of the last decade, the influence that he has made, not only in Riverside County and the Coachella Valley, but in California and throughout the United States, and how he has brought awareness to recycling water. And Joe, we know Joe, and he'll be the new general manager there. Let's see, the mayor and I also, he invited me, we stopped in when we were out for Menifee Better Together. We stopped in at Heritage High School and we got a sneak peek of the Arts Council and their talent show that will be online. I'm not sure the date, and you might have that, so I'll let you share that if you have it. I know we've heard a lot about different things this month going on, but also starting tomorrow, I wanted to mention this, is National Nurses Week. And tomorrow's National Nurses Day, May 6th through 12th. And during this past year with the pandemic, if we owe so much to healthcare workers and nurses and the job that they have done and the time that they have given, and those that we have even lost who put their lives on the line. So I want to say that. And then Menifee is sad to report, and I send my deepest condolences. We're now at 170. Our numbers have gone down, and we're not losing as many residents as we were. I'm grateful for that. I believe in the last 2 weeks, it only moved up one, which I'm grateful for. And as Pastor Crawford mentioned, tomorrow is a National Day of Prayer, open to all at the park, Central Park, 11 to 12, and bring a chair. And that's all I have.
All right, great report. Thank you. I'll try to be brief. This is since our last meeting, April 21st. We still have our ongoing every other week Emergency Operations Committee, and we'll continue to do that as long as we're in management watch. On the 22nd, I attended the Chamber Board meeting. On the 23rd, the Daughters of the American Revolution came to Salt Creek Trail to do a cleanup here, and so I joined them and we shared some information about our history, and just wanted to thank them for coming and filling some bags of litter that were along our trail to help beautify that. I also played in a golf fundraiser for Animal Friends on that same day, the 23rd. On the 24th, we had Menifee Better Together, and it was just great to tour around and see all the hard work from the volunteers, from high school students all the way to seniors. And so thank you to everybody who beautified our community, walking along the streets or working at somebody's home. It was just excellent to see. And as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, we did get to peek at Menifee's Got Talent being filmed, so they're not going to be hosting an actual in-person event, but they filmed all the talent last Saturday over at Heritage High School, so stay tuned. I think they're editing that right now, and soon that'll be out for us all to enjoy. On the 26th, I joined my council members at Nova Park, and it was a great time to cut the ribbon there. That same day, there was a Western Riverside County Projects and Programs Commission, which is a subcommittee in RCTC. And I wanted to mention that we recommended an approval of $150,000 that could be used for RTA to do a microtransit study for senior transportation. And Councilman Carwin has talked a lot about that, and I know Councilman Dinas has as well as all of us. And so I'm just pleased to say that next week is an RCTC meeting, and I believe that that will be approved then. And hopefully the study reveals some good opportunities for the folks who live here in our senior communities. I also serve on a counseling advisory. It's called the Menifee Union School District Counseling Advisory Council, and so we had a virtual meeting on the 27th. On the 29th, as Mayor Pro Tem said, we toured the library with Supervisor Hewitt and Suzanne Holland from the county. And I'll just say that at the end of the meeting, we talked a little bit about that excess property that they have, and gave some plugs, and they gave us encouragement to come up with some kind of a sketch or a drawing or an idea that that the supervisor can use to present to his colleagues and make that ask for us. So hopefully we can move forward with something like that soon. I also wanted to mention that the Rotary Club that evening on the 29th held a social at the Fairfield Inn, and it was very nice to be able to get back together again. It's the first in-person meeting Rotary's been able to do for a year. On May 1st was the opening day ceremonies for Menifee Girls Softball. It was at Marion Ashley Center. Happened to go to check that out, and I saw some of our law enforcement personnel and our fire guys were there to celebrate with the girls softball and kick off their season. And so they asked me if I'd throw out the first pitch, so that was kind of fun to be able to do and congratulate them and wish them a great season. As Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, I attended the Interfaith Council, and it was great to hear from Senator Ochoa Bogue. And today, the board meeting at EMWD, where we honored the general manager, Paul Jones. And I just got to say, there was an outpouring of respect for him from all of the surrounding cities that did proclamations. Our county supervisor, the supervisors were represented by Chuck Washington, and a lot of the districts around in the area, just to thank him for his great leadership. So it was a joy to represent the city of Menifee with our Mayor Pro Tem and thank him for the great things that he's doing. We talked about Quail Valley. We talked about the desalters. We thanked him for all the things that he's doing in the many communities that we have and the willingness for the district to serve this growing city. All right, and then finally, I just wanted to also say, hey, tomorrow's that National Day of Prayer. Looking forward to it. Thank you to Chief Walsh for stepping forward to be the keynote speaker, and looking forward to joining everybody there tomorrow morning. And then we talked, I think Councilman Carwin talked about Firefighters Day and Mayor Pro Tem Sobek National Nurses Week, but I've received some emails and some calls from some other folks in town Gloria Sanchez asked me, representing the Senior Advisory Committee, to make sure that we're proclaiming Older Citizens Month, and I think next month we're going to actually do that.
The next council meeting, yes.
Okay, I mean, next council meeting. I probably said the wrong thing there. But I just want to share that some of the emails and correspondence that I got from members of the public is that May is also Maternal Mental Health Month, and that's kind of like awareness and support for some of the young mothers who might have prenatal mood and anxiety disorders from their pregnancy or postpartum depression and those kinds of things. So it's all, if you're interested in learning more about that, they asked that I'd share that there is, you can Google that and learn all about that. Also, it's National Military Appreciation Month, and so folks like Councilman Dinas, who served as a veteran, and so thank you, sir. And so this is National Military Appreciation Month, so I just want to share that as well. And it's Conservation Appreciation Month, as we learned from Ms. Fisher earlier today as well. So that's the end of my report. If anybody else has anything else they want to add, then we will move to our next item, which is item 8, and that is the approval of our minutes. There's actually 2 sets of minutes, our special council meeting on April 19th and our regular meeting on the 21st. Do any council members have any changes to the minutes that were in our report?
Approved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can we do them both in one motion? All right, so I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Councilman Leesmeyer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that's approved. Let's move to item 10. This is our consent calendar. Bear with me as I read this. All matters on the consent calendar are to be approved in one motion unless a council member requests a separate action on a specific item on the consent calendar. If an item is removed from the consent calendar, it'll be discussed individually and acted upon separately. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on our consent calendar, or has anybody emailed you a public comment on our consent calendar items?
No request to speak.
Thank you. Council members, is there any items that we'd like to pull from consent for discussion? I do hear Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I'd like to pull 10.9 and 10.10.
All right, council members, any other? Can I
Move
get a
approval.
motion for the balance?
Move approval of balance.
Okay, I have
Second.
a motion from Councilman Leesmeyer and a second from Councilman Dinas, and we are going to be doing electronic voting here in just 1 second. Councilman Carwin, are you?
It says voting not available. I vote yes.
All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. So let's take those 2 items that were pulled. We'll start with item 10.9, which is an agreement with Onyx Paving Company for the Premier Neighborhood. Councilmember Sobek, did you want a staff report, or do you have questions?
like-
What's your
I
preference?
would like to ask some questions to staff. I don't need necessarily a report. I did read it,
All right.
and I had some questions. So Carlos, or thank you, Mayor, and Carlos, maybe you can answer these questions for me. First of all, I want to thank staff for getting this on the schedule, and this is great. I know that the Premier Neighborhood is one of the original Menifee Lakes Master Association, where there were 10 neighborhoods built in the late 80s. And I know their roads are in very dire need of resurfacing and grinding. So first of all, this is a new paving company. I don't recognize we've used them before. And something I wanted to ask about is when they did the Belcanto neighborhood, in less than a year, around 6 months, you can, I personally noticed cracking coming back up through the asphalt. Now, that cost $1 million, nearly $1 million to do. And so I wanted to know, some of these neighborhoods, the cracks are so bad, and we're going to spend $900,000 to $1 million to redo the streets. Is there something a paving company can do, like put a mesh? That's what somebody had shared with me. You can put a mesh over the original cracks so they don't work their way to the surface so fast. Because once they're at the surface, we know rain will get in there and those cracks just get wider. And I believe they're supposed to last 15 years. So a little bit of a question, I guess. I gave you a little bit of a history, a little bit of stuff that I kind of, something I was looking at that someone shared with me. And maybe you can share, is this something we can have a conversation with the paving companies about?
Yes, sure. Onyx, yes, is a company we haven't previously worked with, but they were the lowest bidder, and they were the most responsible. So we are under public contracting code. We are obligated to go with the lowest bidder for this project, and that's Onyx. And as far as the pavement on Belcanto, we use rubberized asphalt because the recommendation was that because it's rubberized, it would also fill in the gaps and is rubberized, so it will prevent the cracking from coming up. At least that's what's supposed to do. So we are actually talking with the contractor. We to have them assess those areas. It seems like they are mainly in the cul-de-sacs and
Yes.
some of them.
Where the streets are wider.
And we think that because there are cul-de-sacs, trash trucks are heavier and they're making those turns. It stresses the pavement even more than a regular straight street. So we're thinking of doing what you're suggesting, putting the pavement fabric in the cul-de-sacs, so that won't prevent them. And also we are implementing additional geotechnical investigation before the asphalt is put in to make sure that it complies with the specifications. And that means not only when they're putting the pavement, but when the batch comes out of the plant, just to make sure that everything is according to specs.
So on that one neighborhood where the cracks are coming through, and I believe we're just on a year now.
Yeah.
Was there a warranty? I
Yes,
think so.
they're still under warranty. That's why
Okay.
we're bringing them in
Okay.
to assess it and have them fixed.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you for answering that. It was just something I thought we need to look at. So I don't have any more questions, and if nobody else does, I'll go ahead and approve item 10.9.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. While we're waiting for that, I'll just add a bad joke, but I was told that there's two kinds of asphalt, the kind that cracks and the kind that's gonna crack. So, anyway, that's a bad joke.
Yeah, well, eventually cracks.
Don't quit your day job, Mayor.
All right.
But it is nice seeing those streets getting, I don't think they've been paved in 30 years, so.
Councilman Carwin, are you a yes?
Yeah, I'm a yes. It says voting not available on my screen, so I don't know what the technical issue is.
Okay.
We're looking into it.
All right, and that passes unanimously. All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's move to the next one. This is item 1010. This is the professional agreement for the Antelope and Sunstream median there by the Ralph Center. And so did you
Yes.
have a report or?
I think we've been waiting on this 3 years?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 years. It was a federal grant, and there was a lot of process the city had to go through. And so I just wanted to pull it because I'm excited about it. It's going to be huge in that on Antelope. Those delineators are always a mess that were put there as a temporary fix, which they helped a little bit. I do see anticipated construction start date will be May 26th. Are we on for that?
Yes, we'll talk to the contractor. We're already communicating with them, and we told them we want to start on this date. So we'll have once this project's awarded, we'll quickly put together a pre-construction meeting so they can start submitting all their materials, submittals, and traffic control and all that, so we can get approved and get them going.
Well, this is going to be huge, and it's a much-needed project, so thank you. That medium's needed in that street. And Carlos, I just want to say that I just have seen from you and the engineering team, Yolanda, the whole team, I just see a lot of good work coming forward in a timely manner, and I appreciate that. You guys are doing a great job getting these projects out, so thank you.
Thank you.
I move that we approve, if no other council members have
Second.
say, I'll approve 10.10.
Okay. All Pro Tem, thank you for recognizing our engineering team. I agree, they've been working very, very hard. All right, Bob Corwin, are you a yes?
I have actually illuminated yes on my screen, so,
Oh.
but I am yes.
Okay.
I'm getting closer to being able to vote.
You're a yeah. All right, there's that passes unanimously. All right, thank you, everybody. Let's move to item 11. We are on our public hearing items now. This is the CDBG, which stands for Community Development Block Grant. It's our 21/22 annual action plan. I believe this is the last year of a 5-year plan, but I'll turn it over to City Manager, and then you can kind of introduce who's going to be speaking.
Sure, Mr. Mayor and council members, as you said, this is, we do this every year, trying to implement a 5-year plan, and this is year 5 of that plan, so we'll be coming back sometime early next year to develop a whole new 5-year plan. So I think we are going to have a presentation by Cheryl, and I think also that Edna LeBron, which is our supervisor for this program, is on the line, right? Go ahead, Cheryl.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mayor, members of the council. It's my pleasure to present to you this year's annual action plan. If ITI can have the PowerPoint up for this item, please. Thank you. So just a little bit of overview. The city became a CDBG entitlement city July 1, 2012, and this enables the city to receive annual funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The funds are provided to entitlement cities based on an allocation formula determined by HUD, weighing population at 25%, poverty rates by 50%, and then overcrowded housing units by 25%. And based on those formulas, the city anticipates receiving $520,026 for fiscal year 21-22. Whoops. The CDBG funds and program are intended for the purposes of providing decent housing, creating a suitable living environment, and expanding economic opportunities. And this is a national program with objective requirements that benefit persons who are low to moderate income and eliminate blight and address urgent threat to health and safety issues. So that 5-year plan that was mentioned earlier, the 2017 to 2021 5-year consolidated plan, included 5 priority needs and 5 goals. These are focused around affordable housing, fair housing, public services for low-income and special need population groups, eliminating homelessness, and improving neighborhoods through infrastructure and public improvement projects. The annual action plan generally includes the following main categories, and the city is required to prepare and submit this plan to HUD, and this is the mechanism to implement that 5-year plan on an annual basis and includes the programs and activities to be implemented in the coming year. And so of the annual funding allocation, the programs are broken down. 20% of those funds are towards planning and administration. Funding also goes to fair housing services, which is a mandatory component of the CDBG program. 15% of the funding goes towards public services. And then we use a portion for housing, which we allocate to our senior minor home rehab grant program. And then a portion of the funding is allocated to public facilities and infrastructure projects. So as part of the funding recommendation, the Menifee Citizens Advisory Committee met on 3/16 and 3/30 to review applications for public services. And based on their review and presentations by our partner organizations, they have recommended $10,000 be allocated to the Assistance League, $10,000 to the Boys and Girls Club, $10,000 to Family Services Association, $10,000 to Habitat for Humanity, $10,000 to Hospice of the Valley, $18,004 to the Menifee Valley Community Cupboard, and $10,000 to Safe Family Justice Centers. In addition, we are recommending $120,000 to the minor home rehab grant program, $218,017 to the Peacock Community Street Improvement Project, and this project was one that was identified in the CIP workshop earlier this afternoon. And then $104,005 towards administration, broken down with $81,790 to administration cost and $22,215 to fair housing. I know there was some questions earlier about where the Peacock neighborhood that was identified in the CIP is located. So I've provided a graphic here that illustrates it is south of Chambers, north of McCall, along the eastern side of Valley Boulevard. And then the red highlighted areas are the streets identified for the CIP resurfacing. And this $218,000 closes the funding gap and allows this project to move forward this fiscal year. So tonight, staff's recommendation is that the council conduct a public hearing, adopt a resolution approving the 21-22 annual action plan, and then authorize staff to proceed with submitting that annual action plan to HUD. With that, concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Kittro. So council members, if we could just hold it to questions at this point. Do we have any? I do have one from Mayor Pro Tem.
I see there was about 8 organizations that were funded through this. Do you know how many applied?
Those were the ones that applied.
Was that all that applied? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:11. Madam Clerk, can you please confirm if the public hearing was legally noticed?
Yes, it was.
Did you receive any correspondence?
No correspondence.
All right. Do we have any public testimony, either emailed or in person?
Yes, we do have a couple requests to speak. First, we have Don Smith via Zoom.
Hi, good evening. I
Hi.
have a very short, modest video I'd like to share with you. I believe they have it.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Ms. Prather-Smith. All right, thank you. That was awesome.
Wasn't that short?
There we go.
Great video. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. And again, thank you for everything. And I hope many of you will be joining us on June 11th for celebrity karaoke.
All right, excellent. All right, Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
Yes, we have Dorcas Scheckman here.
All right, Ms. Shackman, you've been very, very patient, but thank you for joining us. We know you're with the Assistance League and do great things in our community.
Thank you. Well, to start with, I'd like to thank the City of Menifee and all of your support for all of these many years. We could not be where we are today without your help, and we really, really appreciate it. You've supported us in making a difference in our community, and that is important to us. So tonight, I'd like to provide you an update on Operation School Bell. This is our main philanthropic program, and this was significantly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And due to the restrictions of the pandemic, it was necessary to create an alternative plan to continue the service and to provide for the needs of our community. Wait a minute, I lost my place. It was necessary to create an alternative plan to continue to service the needs of our students living in poverty and to satisfy the requirements of the Community Development Block Grant. For Menifee residents, Assistance League partnered with the Menifee Valley Community Cupboard. To meet these needs, families completed forms provided to the cupboard and distributed to the family, and these forms gave information on the students, their size, their clothing needs, their colors that they liked. The cupboard collected these forms. Our volunteers picked up the forms along with all the supporting documentation. Our members took the forms, went to Target, bought the clothes, and then took them back to the cupboard, and the cupboard distributed them to the families. So needless to say, we weren't able to get the numbers that we have in the past, but we were able to continue to provide service to the kids through the Menifee Valley Cupboard and also to the families that were registered there, that were the families who really were the ones living in poverty and had the biggest needs. So this was very labor intensive. It took a lot for our volunteers, and we're still doing the service right now, and we will continue until the end of this month, which is the end of our fiscal year. So with the expectation that students will be in school in the 21-22 year, families will use the Operation School Bell online registration system, and they will enroll in the program, and hopefully we will be back on the floor in the Kohl's and Target stores, and the families will once again be able to shop. The kids will be able to choose their own clothes. And I wanted to let you know that in addition to providing the clothing, we did not buy shoes this year because you just simply cannot buy shoes remotely for children. Shoes have to fit. So we did provide the Menifee Union School District with $5,000 in Famous Footwear shoe cards. Nice. So we tried to cover all of our bases, and it was a challenging year, as you all know.
Ms. Shackman, your time is up.
Thank you. And we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming tonight, and please pass on to all the folks over at the Assistance League how much we appreciate this great partnership. Yeah, thank you, Dorcas. All right, any other, there's one more?
I believe there's a speaker on the Zoom from Hospice of the Valley, perhaps that's trying to.
Is it Melanie House?
Yes.
Okay, yes, we did see that person on Zoom.
Okay.
Hi there, I appreciate it. Really quickly, my name is Melanie House. I'm the Development Coordinator at Hospice of the Valleys. We're a proud and honored recipient of CDBG funds through City and Menifee during this current fiscal year and in years past. As some of you may know, Hospice of the Valleys was started right here in Sun City in 1982 by two sisters who recognized a need for specialized end-of-life care for people in their community. Today, Hospice of the Valleys employs a team of experienced physicians, registered nurses, social workers, spiritual care workers, home health aides, and administrative professionals. And we continue to have a group of dedicated volunteers who touch the lives of our patients each and every day. Next year, we'll celebrate 40 years of caring for hospice patients living in Southwest Riverside County and Fallbrook. Hospice of the Valleys remains committed to the mission of its founders by providing loving hospice care to all who need it, regardless of their ability to pay. Currently, we care for approximately 400 patients and their families per year, with between 15 and 20% residing in Menifee. Our senior assistance program has served over 160 patients in Menifee in the last 3 years, and we just take great pride that our patients never see a bill. We never turn patients away, regardless of their ability to pay, and this includes people that are uninsured or even underinsured. Our program also cares for patient family members and or their caregivers, which includes caregiver education and support, at least 13 months post-loss bereavement and grief support, one-on-one counseling, monthly mailings, phone calls, hospice hearts, and community memorials twice a year. Sorry about the dog. We already served over 50 patients and their families in Menifee this fiscal year, and we look forward to continuing our senior assistance program here in Menifee for years to come. And we're just so grateful for the support that CDBG provides. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. House. We appreciate you joining us tonight and being with us, and thank you for everything that Hospice of the Valley does. Sit. I was talking to her dog. All right. Do we have any other speakers?
No other speakers.
There are a lot of jokes tonight.
We got a clown tonight up here.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing now at 7:21. And council members, do we have anything we'd like to share or open up for any discussion before a motion?
I just want to say real quick, thank you, Dorcas, for being here, and thank you for all that the Assistance League of the Valley does for the families and children here in Menifee. You're a great partnership, and we're glad that you applied for this and you're able to get this grant funding. And if Don's still on there, thank you for the cupboard, for all that you do. And then, Hospice of the Valley, they are a great organization. Something that was brought to my attention years ago was that if a family member needs hospice and they're not a senior, their insurance won't pay for them to be on hospice. So if you have a child or a young mother or father, you have to pay out of pocket. And so this organization comes in there and helps these families. And so I'm glad for Edna for the work that she does with this program, that we're continuing to keep these funds coming in, that we can help our community. So that's all I have.
All right, great points. Any other comments, council members? I just wanted to share that I'm going to be abstaining from the vote because I'm a board member of Boys and Girls Club, and they're one of the recipients. So just putting it out there.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Says we're waiting on you.
Okay, and that passed 4 yeses and 1 abstention. All right, let's now move to item 12. This is discussion items, and in 12.1, Treasurer's Report. So, Mr. City Manager, would you please introduce this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council members, I think we have a duo coming up here, but this is a presentation that was requested by the Finance Subcommittee to be brought to the entire council for consideration. As you know, earlier today, you did consider an investment policy, and that policy has given us the ability to safely and adequately deal with our funds and how we invest funds. So with that, we do have a proposal. This request is for you to approve also the Treasury Report for this month, and also a presentation of how we're going to be dealing with our investment portfolio in the future. So with that, I'll ask our Deputy City Manager to present this item. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I will turn it over to Wendy to begin the presentation. If we get the PowerPoint up.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, staff, and public. We will be presenting the Treasurer's Report for March 2021 in a format. A little background. Monthly, the City Treasurer presents a City Council with a summary of the city's cash and investments. The City Treasurer and the Finance staff have reviewed the city's portfolio to diversify the city's investments to safely increase the return on investments in a fiscally responsible manner. The city's Treasurer and Finance staff met with a firm called Piper Sandler. They're a leader in government investing and came up with a investment strategy to ensure the city's goals of safety, liquidity, and return on investment while meeting the city's cash flow needs. There are no fees associated with the services that Piper Sandler will be giving the city. The Piper Sandler strategy was presented to the Finance Committee on April 8th. The Finance Committee then asked staff to bring it forward, the strategy forward to City Council to provide an update on how the new strategy will improve the city's return on our investments. This is just a sample that Piper Sandler presented at that April 8th Finance Committee meeting. And we'll just be showing you a snippet of it. It was a long, detailed presentation. This is part of it, showing here that first category, the money market, with a sample of about a 30% of the city's portfolio invested there. That is a low risk, low return investment. The Treasury at about 12.7%. This is a longer term high yield investment. And then the balance with agency at about 56.4% is kind of a medium term, medium yield.
And to drill down a little more on what this means for the city, this is a snapshot of what our current city cash and investment portfolio looks like. This is how it's presented to you on a regular basis. And we have the city's actual cash funds at the top in our checking savings, and we now have asset forfeiture for the police department. We previously had just checking, and while short of the investments that are below, but I want to talk about this for a moment. When I started and took over the city treasurer role, I was evaluating our investments and our cash on hand, and did want to take some time to evaluate other agencies. As you know, we have been using Chandler Asset Management for quite some time, but only a low amount that has been invested with them. During that process, I wanted to at least get the money that we had on hand into savings, so we were getting at least some sort of return. Very, very low, but at least it was something. So we worked together with the bank to open the savings account. But while you have likely noticed the savings balance has grown over the past 6 months plus significantly. So this is just, as I said, how we have been presenting it, and you'll see this high balance in our checking and savings at $43 million, and the balance being invested primarily in LAIF, Local Agency Investment Fund, which is widely used by government agencies. There is a cap of how much we can invest there, but it is also very low yield. It has been about 0.3%, 0.35. We are at 0.4 on this snapshot for March, but even since then, it's lowered since then. The remaining very small amount has been with Chandler Asset in diversified, similar to what we are recommending. However, we do pay a fee to Chandler there, and the more we invest with them, not a significant high fee, but there is a fee associated with that. To where Piper Sandler, there is no fee associated. They are the underwriter So the institution investing the money is how they earn their money. So it'll be even less of a cost to diversify with them. So moving on to, again, this is just a quick snapshot of where we're at currently. We have, again, and I'm sorry, on the investment side, just drilling down to investments, 62 million in LAIF, again, very low yield, and the mix of about 3.6 million diversified through Chandler. Now, what we are going to move towards, and what the plan is to diversify exactly what Wendy said, based on a formula of keeping about 30% low risk. So the lowest risk, easily liquid, is in LAIF now, so it doesn't make sense to move it from LAIF, because there are other investments that are short-term that would give us about the same yield. So target will be 30% in LAIF at 30 million. About 55% going into a mixed use of more higher yield, but still low term, so that it's still liquid, available in six months. Some of them, I think what we had the mix in goes up to approximately 1 year, but most of them are from 6 months to a year return. And then you can see here, that puts us at an average of 0.78% of the stated rate. And there's a mix that'll show on the next slide. And then the U.S. Treasury, a lower amount because it is a longer term investment, approximately 5 years. That's the maximum. We do this will be a mix of 3 to 5 years, but giving a 2.125% average return. So with this, we would take obviously that money that's out in savings and move it into the investments, and take about 32 million out of LAIF and diversify that further in investments. So we'll still, have our total cash on hand approximately the same. The cash flow needs will still be available to the city as LAIF. We can call and have our money transferred to our bank account immediately the same day. Again, the agency funds, those are very short term. So again, that'll be liquid turnover on a short term notice. This is just another snapshot of the spread, 30% in LAIF, about 12% in U.S. Treasury, 55% in agency funds, and the remaining 3.5%, 3.59% with Chandler. As those mature, we will move them over to Investor Piper. This is a more detailed look at breaking down. It was previously presented as an average of 0.78 for agency and 2.125 for U.S. Treasury. This is actually looking at the detail of that. But the top is what our current investments are as they stand now. Our return on investment would yield about $273,800 with the stated rate at the snapshot we're in now. Looking at changing that investment, the same exact investment amount of $97.9 million, diversified would yield an $822,358 in return on investment. So again, this drills down to, you can see the spread of U.S. Treasury ranging from 3.58 years to 5 years. Again, that's within our policy that was approved earlier this evening. And then the bulk of the investments would be split over agency ranging from 0.33 years, and there are some that go up to 5 years, but this gives us a better return, obviously much higher than the 0.4%. So this is what you'll see going forward. We won't give us this level of detail in the regular reports, but this is the major change that we're doing, or that we're making, is to diversify our investments and bring a bigger yield back to the city for the cash that we have available. So with that, we are again just asking for approval of the March report, but demonstrating how it will go forward. We're in the process of developing the custody updating the custody account so that we can go forward with those investments. So by May's report, you'll see the difference in where the investments are made. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, very good. And real quick, that return on investment, that's a 5-year return, not annual, right?
Not annual, but this is
5 years?
yes. So it's not over 5 years. This is an annual snapshot, but this would be upon maturity. So it's just looking at, yes, some are 5 years, some would be the 0.33 years or 1 year. So it would be the range, but yes, it would be that investment for that account, and some would be 5 years, yes.
Thank you. Councilman Leesmeyer.
Why such short terms?
Well, short term leaves it more equitable to access your money for cash flow purposes. So that's why we wouldn't want to tie up the city's money long term, because this is spread across all of our funds, and we do what Piper did is analyzed our cash flow needs going back the past 3 years, or 2.5, 3 years, to look at what the peaks and valleys are with our cash flow needs, and made this recommendation based on our cash flow needs.
Okay, so you see yourself kind of dipping back and forth a little bit and needing a little more liquid?
Correct.
Okay. I'm just thinking about it because, I mean, if we're budgeting out for a year, every year we're building a budget. I don't see why we need it, but I get it now with the ebb and flow and.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Other questions, council members? Hearing none, I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:36. Madam Clerk, can you confirm that this was legally noticed?
This is just discussion.
This is not.
Just discussion.
I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong thing.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Hang on. Do we have any requests to speak?
No request to speak on this.
All right, thank you. I flipped the page once and I got on the wrong task here. All right, so council members, as we open it up for discussion and comments? Or a motion?
Receive and file.
Okay. Are we actually approving the treasurer's report as well? Right?
Yes.
Oh, we pulled it out. Okay, yeah. We
All
should
right,
approve.
Okay, and then I have Councilman Dynas to speak.
I'll withdraw.
Just quickly, this is something I have been hounding the city manager for a while, as well as the finance director, to rebalance our portfolio so that, over time we'll have over 500,000, which will go greatly towards other city needs that we have. I appreciate staff and all the hard work they're doing. It'll be great to be able to get a little more bang for our buck when it comes to our investment. I mean, it'll change as interest rates go up, but being able to squeeze a few extra dollars out of what the current environment is now is well worth the effort that's gone and been taking place. So I want to thank staff for that.
Looks like a traffic signal every couple of years.
I like the way it's
Every little bit helps, right? Second.
Okay, so we do have a motion from Councilman Leesmeyer and a second from Mayor Pro Tem. Everybody's in. Okay. That passed unanimously. Okay, let's move on now. We are we have a information item. This is our public safety report. This is for information only. There's no action for the council, kind of a receive and file type of item. So real fast, Madam Clerk, is there any request to speak on this one?
No request to speak.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to the city manager. You can introduce who's going to present. Do you have anything to present?
This item is actually a receive and file. If you would like us to talk about it, it's for informational purposes only.
So we just what's in our report. All right, very good.
So yeah, we remember the discussion we had. The council wanted to be more updated, so it comes from the public safety meetings.
Yeah, so we did see there was kind of a PowerPoint or breakdown of all the information in our staff report.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, council members, do we want anything else? All right. Let's move on then, right? We're moving on? We don't need to do any action. All right, I just want to make sure I'm not skipping ahead. Mr. City Attorney, do we have anything to report, sir?
Nope.
All
Thanks,
right,
Mayor.
Thank you. And City Manager, do you have any reports for us?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, I do have one small announcement. In addition to all those agencies and organizations that we are recognizing this month, we do have Municipal Clerks Appreciation Week this week. So want to make sure that we recognize our City Clerks Department under the leadership of Sarah. As you know, the City Clerks Department is a muscle, I call it a muscle that links the City Council, the city departments, and the public with information, critical information. They do take their job very serious. They get a lot of public records requests, and they do manage to get those back to the residents in time. And as you know, over the last year, we've been all challenged, and they've been challenged to make sure that our city council meetings and the public is connected with the business of the city. And so they're working really hard, and I just want to be able to recognize them for their hard work. I think they're here. So thank you very much for your efforts.
Can we give them a round of applause?
Yes.
Any other? Okay, thank you very much. All right, how about future agenda requests, council members? I see Councilman Carwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two. Let me scroll to my notes here. First, in light of what's going on with RTA and the pilot program in Hemet and lightening of COVID restrictions, I'd like to request that the staff prepare a feasibility study for a Menifee loop type of bus line that would run exclusively through the city of Menifee, not crossing over other jurisdictions, linking key communities to other key communities. Something I'd like the feasibility report to include a look at funding possibilities. I know that there are federal programs. There's all kinds of programs available, whether that's a electric vehicle or natural gas powered vehicle type funding, those kinds of things, and discuss and communicate with other cities that have had successful programs. I know some have not, some have. I know specifically the city of Glendale has a vibrant beeline, they call it. So I would like to request a future agenda item for a feasibility study for a Menifee loop bus.
Give me a second on that.
Just for clarification, so I'd mentioned that there's going to be a study funded for the city of Menifee for just exactly what you're saying that RTA would do. So do you want this feasibility study prior to or after that is prepared?
I would be more than happy for our staff to incorporate that report and save and not reinvent the wheel, so to speak, to use that information in applying it to our specific staff knowledge.
Excellent, thank you.
And then number two, I think, and thank you, Councilman Leesmeyer, for seconding that. Number two, we were talking about city identity and ways we can bring our community together for community identity. And I thought it would be nice if we could have the staff come up with a program for a city flag, whether that's through some sort of contest for submissions of designs and things like that, that we can fly here at City Hall and at the schools and things like that. So I would like thank you very much. Hopefully that's enough instruction for the city staff. And that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. And then Mayor Pro Tem Sobek.
Yes, I've had some conversations with some residents, and is this National, Clerks Week or Day today? So thank you, Sarah, for being our city clerk, Stephanie, Assistant City Clerk, and your team for all that you do in our city. And I actually have an item that I'm going to that I want to bring forward as a future agenda item that would have something to do with your department. And I've had some residents bring this up. I guess in other cities and city halls, they have a passport application acceptance facility. And so that's something I would like us to look at, if that's something feasible for the city of Menifee. that, especially with so many senior residents, they would not have to drive out of town to take care of their passports, but they could get swearing in here at City Hall. So if I can get a second,
Second.
thank you.
Any other future agenda requests? All right, we are getting close to adjournment, but I just wanted to share that the city received some sad news about one of our next door neighbors, the city of Canyon Lake. They have one of their councilmen, Jordan Aaron Krantz. He's served as a councilman there. He was their mayor because they rotate over there, and unfortunately, he recently passed away. So. If the council agrees, let's close in memory of Jordan Aaron Krantz, councilman for City of Canyon Lake, and keep his family in our thoughts and prayers.
Amen.
Okay. All right, with that, we are adjourned in his honor.